So I saw a hot take come across my feed this morning from a creator that will remain nameless. I actually really like them from my limited interactions with them RL, so I'm not trying to throw any shade. Their point was that they thought combo, mainly in Commander, they're a Commander player, is boring. And my first gut reaction whilst I was sat on a porcelain throne pouring out my guts, am I right? I was shitting like it was going out of season. Well, I think I jumped to some sort of old school grumpy magic boomer high horse. The actual first conception for this video was probably to talk about how casual players don't like combo, but eventually they learn that they do, although it's actually a completely legitimate part of Magic. And that second sentence is true. It is a completely legitimate part of Magic, but there is some truth to the idea that combos, some combos, not all combos are created equal, but some combos are antithetical to the idea of a casual muckabout game of Commander. Let's unpack that, shall we? And how casuals hate combo. And you know what? I think I kind of agree with them, or at least can see where they're coming from. But maybe you're a casual looking to buy a deck box, a gorgeous, beautiful deck box with this absolutely sexy finish. This currently holds my treasure-themed EDH deck, although I think I unsleeved some bits for another deck. I need to re-sleeve those cards. That's not important to this. Anyway, Gamegenic bring all of the content on this channel to you with their wonderful accessories and products. Deck boxes, sleeves, playmats, they've even got the license to the new Lorwyn stuff, which makes me froth at the gash. If you too are a Gamegenic enjoyer, then comment down below with how much you enjoy Gamegenic. Available at all local game stores. It's your favorite content creator's favorite Magic accessories. I'm not even making that up, you know it's true. Combos. Let's quickly define what a combo is in Magic the Gathering so we can talk about it. We're also probably gonna have to define the idea of casuals, as I am throwing that around, and I'm pretty sure people have already started commenting because they're upset. In the loosest term, it's adding two cards together to create an effect that is more powerful than the individual cards on their own. However, I would say that this description isn't really apt for combo, because I think that also describes synergy. Synergy is where two cards again combine to make an effect more powerful than they are on their own. If anything, there's a sliding scale of synergy on one end and the failed, dying hopes and dreams of a casual EDH player on the other. Let's look at a commander I really like to explain like what I'd say is a synergy. So Valgavoth, Harrower of Souls, will draw you a card whenever an opponent takes damage during their turn for the first time, and thus you play cards that damage your opponents during their turns when they do things. Kedrect Parasite is one of my favorite ones in it. Each player to damage whenever they draw a card, if you control another red permanent, which Valgavoth is. So Valgavoth both enables the Kedrect Parasite, and the Parasite enables Valgavoth by putting counters on him and drawing you cards as the turn goes around the table, as the table goes around the turns, whatever, as people draw cards. I would be very quick to say this is not a combo. You could jokingly call it a combo. Like, is this Splinter Twin? Is kind of almost like a meme at this point. But I'd say it's more of a synergy than a combo. I think on this end of the scale, the synergy thing is when two cards combine together to do a cool thing. They even perhaps create an engine, which I'm going to talk more about in a bit, where I think engines are actually quite fun to see go off and interact with. Where combo is something a bit more backbreaking. Talking both inside of Commander and outside of Commander, there are ones that don't necessarily end the game. So Show and Tell, for example, plus a big fatty. This is synergy, but I'd say it's bordering on combo. You're getting a huge advantage by playing these two cards together, normally on a one shot, not on every turn, if you will. Although some combos work together to have an ongoing effect. They can lock you out of the game. Mycosynth Lattice and March of the Machines turns everyone's lands into creatures that die to a state-based action of having power and toughness of 0. This is a combo more so than a synergy. It's also a combo that locks your opponents out of the game, or at least their lands anyway. But I think on the whole, the combos that people complain about aren't just your synergistic engines or your one-time big bonuses. It's the things that kind of just end the game out of nowhere, where an engine builds up some momentum that is fun to see start chugging along as you see the pieces moving, the cogs whirring. I recently played Valgavoth against a player who hadn't seen it in action before. When I had 3 different pingers in play and a Valgavoth in play, they just said out loud, this is a really cool deck. Funny thing is, the majority of the cards that are in play was just from the precon, because the precon's really well designed. But on the flip side of engines, there are just like, I guess I'm going to call them car crashes. Maybe that's a bit too dramatic. Game-ending combos. The Splinter Twin one is an obvious one, where Splinter Twin plus a Pestamite or similar creature that untaps itself upon ETB, or untaps its former copy of itself upon ETB, makes infinite creatures, and thus you have infinite damage. Whilst playable in EDH is not the EDH combo everyone thinks of, I guess more EDH-friendly ones or EDH-obvious ones are Exquisite Blood and Sanguine Bond. God, I always say Blood and Bond the wrong way around. Blood says whenever an opponent loses life, you gain that much life, and Sanguine Bond says whenever you gain that much life, target opponent loses that much life, and at any point that you would gain a life, at at the point that you would gain life or your opponents would lose life, it creates a loop and kills the table. This combo is rather casual though. You wouldn't really see this in a CDH table, so that's what I define as more on the casual end of the spectrum. We'll define casualness in a moment, but the more competitive combo would probably be Tainted Pact plus Thassa's Oracle, or any way to Thassa's Oracle yourself into a win really, where Tainted Pact says you can basically name a card and reveal cards to your library till you hit it, and if you name a card you don't have, you exile your entire library. Then you do that with a Thassa's Oracle trigger on the stack, or cast Thassa's Oracle afterwards, depending on how you fancy resolving this combo, and then Thoracle triggers, looks to top cards your library, and then wins you the game because your library is smaller than your devotion to blue, which with Thassa's Oracle's trigger is 2. With the Exquisite Blood, Sanguine Bond, and the Thassa's Oracle Tainted Pact, did any other combo like this that just ends the game or near ends the game? I guess even like sneak attacking an Emrakul into someone in 1v1 is probably comparable, although I have played legacy games where I've beaten that. More on that a bit later as well. But I think these are very different to your synergistic build-up engines that a lot of casual players enjoy. On that note, let's talk about casuals and how I'm pretty sure some of them, even the ones watching this video, do like combos. Here's some B-roll I got by searching casual on the B-roll website I use. Casual for me describes two different things depending on the context when talking about tabletop gaming and card games. On the one hand, it's the less entrenched players, the players that aren't watching game nights or Shuffle Up and Play or even content like this. They aren't deep in the weeds of being a Magic the Gathering fan, they more casually enjoy it. They may play it even once a week perhaps, but less than that, once a month with their friends. They don't really care that much. I think even a lot of the players that I meet at F&M I would put in this category because they don't follow the content cycle or obsess over making their decks better. Yeah, and a lot of them are mainly now into Commander, right? Commander has become the primary way for a casual of this type to engage with Magic. And I'm not saying this is a dirty word, I'm saying this just as a way that you engage with a hobby. I am pretty entrenched and nerdy about Magic the Gathering and Warhammer and other certain things, but I can also be quite casual about others. I fucking love Tekken and fighting games in general, but Tekken's my absolute favourite. And whilst I think I'm probably better than the average Tekken player, the average person in the street that likes Tekken, I think I'm pretty fucking casual. I can't tell you what any of the moves are called, I don't know about time frame windows or any of that stuff. I am a Tekken fan, but I am a Tekken casual. The other side of casual, I think, is something that is more a mentality that even old entrenched content creators and boomers like myself can fall into or adopt depending on the circumstance. When I go to play Commander, I think I come to it with a very casual attitude. I like to play suboptimal decks. I actually think that optimization is the thief of joy, a video that I'll be doing very soon. I hate writing down lists and discussing best in slot practices, and I hate having objectively correct choices to make. I like coming in with a very relaxed attitude towards Commander, playing at my peak during the game and making the correct decisions during the game with the things that are presented to me, but I come in doing that with the tools that are there. That's how I enjoy playing Magic. And it is a very casual attitude, to the point that I've started to feel like combos are actually the opposite of what I want to play with or against in Commander, and that's wild to me. I hadn't really realised I'd moved to this thought process until I started to examine it over the last couple of days. On Monday night, I played some Magic at the pub, and a friend of mine, shout out to Lyle, you know who you are, Tony, you said to me as I got a deck out of my bag, I think you said, we were talking about like brackets and stuff and power levels, and you asked me any combos, and I jokingly sneered at you saying, I don't need no combos, I don't play combos, and it was kind of like a joke, but it's true. That's not to say that I haven't, and this comes to that casual player who derives enjoyment from the what feels smart of killing the table with a combo. Me in 2011, but well, prior to that, 2009 perhaps, playing Commander with my D&D play group, shout out to Rob, my DM, forever DM, we would play Magic before we played D&D on a Monday night. And I would often play combo decks, sometimes to finish the game so we can get on with playing D&D, so the game didn't overrun and eat into our Dungeons & Dragons session, but also at that time I just found it very satisfying to combo kill a table, hold a piece of interaction, cast 6 mana Niv Mizzet the Firemind, and any number of ham sandwiches that went infinite, drew your deck and shot everyone at the table to death. And at the time, I wasn't really super entrenched. I was probably more entrenched in Magic than the most casual players, but I was definitely a casual, but I fucking loved combos. But over time, I guess I got it out of my system. I did it quite a bit and then realized actually this isn't the most fun way to play Commander. And that brings me to why I think I understand why other people don't like it. It's that whole engine versus car crash thing. Like seeing someone else pop off and work towards beating them is a fun sort of arch enemy thing in Commander. That's why some combos aren't made equal. Some combos are worse than others for this. I'll come to that in a moment comparing the Sanguine Bond to the Thassa's Oracle again to bookend the end of the video. But like someone building up a board state, a load of creatures, or an engine, an academy manufacturer, and a clue generator, and you're like, that asshole's getting out of hand, that asshole normally being me. I fucking love durdling around these days. But that is part of the narrative and the flavor and the themes of Commander that people really buy into. The thing that I think casual players hate the most when they say that they hate combo is they hate the idea of playing an hour, 2 hours, for then someone just to go, whoops, I win, by putting 2 cards onto the stack. Or in the case of sometimes, there's wombo combo cards too. I think a 2-card combo, like a Splinter Twin or a Thassa's Oracle win, is comparable to wombo combos like Insurrection or Crater Hoof Behemoth, arguably, although it needs more of a board state on your side, where it's not a satisfying end or conclusion, not to the narrative that the game has had, nor to just the time you've spent. And the thing is, I'm all for a game ending. If a game's been going on for 2 hours and someone combo kills the table, in some ways, that's a bit of a release and a relief because we can shuffle up and go again. Variety is the spice of life, and I've got at least 2 decks on me, maybe 3 decks every time I go anywhere to play Commander. I need to play the other ones. But the reality is, if you've been having a back and forth and a tight, tense game of resource trading and killing things off and board resets and politicking, for someone to untap and just wombo combo the kill the table out of fucking nowhere is dire. It just isn't satisfying. Or at least it's not satisfying in the way that a lot of us come to Commander to enjoy Magic, which is a bit more relaxed, chilled out, and fuck about and find out, I guess. Now, let's not say that all combo is bad or combo players are bad or like enjoying the act of comboing is bad. Absolutely not. I love it too. I actually think it's got more of a home and a place in other formats. Now, of course, there's CDH, the upper tier power levels of Commander, where combo is the be all and end all of how to end games. I say that it's 80-90% of the games you don't tend to win via beatdown. But I think when you're playing in a one-on-one environment, playing through a combo and disrupting a combo and winning in spite of a combo is a lot more rewarding than having your eye off the ball for a second where someone gets you in Commander. And Cube even more so. Oh, if someone drafts a combo deck and then plays through a game and manages to combo kill you, it's so much more impressive, if you will, that they've managed to play through both modes of the game, the draft and the gameplay part, to get you. Even more so if it's close and you stop them. Oh, the building up of gameplay tension is wonderful. And I think this all comes down to an idea of expectations, right? Because Commander can have all of those things too. I just think that most people aren't looking for that kind of game. Most people aren't coming into Commander with the aim of disrupting combos. CDH players are, and I think that's actually very fun. When you're coming in with the idea of playing preemptive stacksy pieces or a lot of low-cost disruption pieces like 1-mana counterspells and such, you are coming in to play a war of resource attrition and not mind games as such, but you come in with that expectation. And that's where we probably come to the bracket system, if I'm honest. I'm actually surprised the bracket system doesn't focus more on combos. I think where the bracket system does do this correctly is talking about like what turn you win on. But again, winning by setting up a board that's interactive with and can create those narratives and that tension is very different to untapping on turn 6 and just killing the table outright. So really, I think the issue that we get when casual players say that they hate combo or think it's a boring way to play Commander is that actually they haven't come in with the mindset geared towards dealing with combo. And perhaps that's absolutely okay for it to be a mindset you don't want to deal with. I play quite a lot of interaction in my decks. I think I'm a reasonably good Magic player, and I think my decks are reasonably powerful. I play a lot of good cards, but I also sometimes don't want to have to worry that someone's going to untap and combo kill the table and have to hold up interaction at all times. I can just play a bit more of a relaxed, dare I say it, lazy game of Magic. It's like coming to play like 5-a-side football and not having to run full pelt all the time. Sometimes you want to let your guard down, breathe a little. I had a game recently where a friend of mine, it's you again, Tony, you combo killed the table with your, was it Kirik, Mikaeus, whatever it was, some Mike and Trike combo kill. And it was just so unsatisfying because no one at the table was prepared for it, myself included. We didn't think we were playing even that kind of game. I should have guessed you're playing Mike from Trike, right, Mikaeus. But it just sort of ended the game, and then we all just like sort of shrugged and shuffled up again and went again. No one was bitter or upset, but that's the thing, like in that circumstance, Tony enjoyed it, right? He enjoyed doing the comboing, so there is some merit there, but everyone else was a bit like, sure. And I'm long in the tooth now too. I joked to him that it's like watching because he's new to Magic and I am not. It's like watching a child tie their shoelaces for the first time. It's heartwarming to see, but Like, it's not that impressive, I guess. And that sounds really condescending. I'm not trying to make it sound condescending. Another newer player in my town, I won't call them casual because they're a bit too hard work, I'd say. But anyway, I saw them recently and they told me they built their first Commander combo deck. And I asked them what it was. And they said, you know, I've got this cool card that no one knows about called Intruder Alarm. And I just like basically fell asleep as he was talking to me because, again, this is not new or interesting. That's not to say that combos have to be new, interesting, or novel. I'm just saying that it's just not the kind of commander that I want to play. So ultimately, I think expectations, which uses the bracket system, or at least the language of the bracket system as a language, to have that conversation, to facilitate those conversations about where you expect to die and such. I think that's how we fix the whole, like, I hate combo thing. Because I don't think combos should be hated out. And also, like, to go back to those original examples, the Exquisite Blood Sanguine Bond thing. This combo costs, is it 10 mana? That's so dramatically different than Thassa's Oracle and Tainted Pact, which is 4 mana. And honestly, if neither of the pieces are in play and they're tapping out for 10 mana and then going to combat, you kind of expect someone to win at that point. 10 mana, 2 black enchantments in play, and a combat step. And those also signpost things, right? Well, Thassa's Oracle is a fucking signpost. If you see someone reveal a Thassa's Oracle going to hand, you know what's up. No one's playing it for the devotion, let's be real. But like, someone plays Exquisite Blood, it does make them the Exquisite Bond, whichever fucking one it is. It makes them arch enemy. So there is like a narrative aspect there. It does build that tension in some ways when you're playing a big ass combo like that. Same with like 3 card combos. I think it's kind of cool to see people like assemble 3 or 4 or 5 card combos that are akin to engines but end the game. I think no one's really bothered by that. There's a lot of interaction points, there's a lot of build up, there's a lot of luck in some ways. I guess lastly, there's also tutors, right? If you're playing combos in your deck and you're just trying to naturally draw into them, that's quite a lot different to every game resolving with the same combo. That's probably what you see with Thassa's Oracle over even Exquisite Bond and Sanguine Blood, although they do have tutors in the color in black, obviously. But if you're doing the same combo every single game, that's also going to make your opponents feel sick and tired of it. Ultimately, I do think people say they hate combo in an attempt to not play against it so they don't have to hold up removal or have the interaction or develop their own skills, threat assessment, understanding of the game and abilities. That is absolutely a thing that happens. But also, I can get the fact that when you finish your workday and you go down to the pub on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday night, whatever your night is, you may not even want to put the energy into worrying if some dickhead's going to stay really quiet, then untap, tap 6 mana, and kill the table. It's just something that you may not want to worry about while you're having a pint. Maybe I'm getting soft. Maybe I'm getting old. Maybe I've played far too much fucking Commander and not enough 60 card constructed recently. But I kind of get where the casuals are coming from. Combo can really kill the fun of a big, epic, battle-cruisery Commander game. I get it. I've been Vince, also known as PleasantKenobi on the internet. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I think it's quite a nuanced topic, really, when we get off our high horse of being a boomer that knows better than the new players. Let me know if you like combo, whether you think it has its place in Commander. I guess it just doesn't at lower power levels. That's kind of what I'm getting at. And I'll see you in the next one. Ta-ta for now.